Hi, I'm back. See, and I didn't even touch anything. I was trying to figure out if I could get my entire 12 by 12 sheet to my camera. I was looking at stuff. I did have my hand on the mouse. I obviously hit something. So I don't know. But I'm not going to touch my camera or anything else. So here we are again. Uh, that was not like designed to torment you even more. You know what I realized with this paper below? Just a second, it's making it really hard. Okay, this is my favorite bunny bag of all time. I was trying to make a bigger bag. I don't actually remember this. I've hit this bag years ago. This lovely mosaic paper. I actually want to say, I think this might have actually been like 2018, 2019. And I have managed to not munch this bag. It's always been sitting on my shelf and I absolutely love it. We had this like thick twine that went with it. And it is just awesome. And I needed a bigger bag for whatever bigger treat I was putting in. And so I was playing and I just free cut this. So when I went to actually recreate it to make it for you guys, I actually had to go, okay, what the heck did I do? And it is so simple to make, and it is definitely minimalist. Like, I mean, you could put it on a certain paper, you could put a face on it if you wanted to. You could, I'm sure, jazz it up in different ways. I loved the minimalist of it. So I made a new one to show you. And I love patterned paper. But look at this cute plaid bunny. So I made a new one using different products just to give you an idea how else it looks. And so I could take measurements so I could figure out how to tell you how to make it. So I'm going to quickly show you how I made this, and then I'm going to post pictures later. There should be, it might be, I can't remember now if I set it for 1 or 1:30. I think 1:30 because I think it would have been distracted if all of a sudden I was getting a bunch of messages on something that posted while I went live. I will have the bunny ear egg one. So this will be in, I'll put it in the queue, but I will post the pictures and stuff afterwards. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to make it quick because I know that we're only supposed to be half an hour on Fridays, and I'm going to do my darndest to not go over. So here's one of the beauties of this project. And even though you can't see the top and the bottom, just trust me. This is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper that I'm going to cut 1 inch off the edge of. And then I'm going to use the entire rest of the sheet. So for those of you with a stockpile of DSP that you are trying to get rid of, you're welcome. Now, I'm also about to find out if it matters which way you put the 1 inch piece on. That'll make sense in a minute. But you do want to make sure that you cut the 1 inch strip off the right or the left side of your paper. I guess because if it's a really pretty paper and you like this side better, I don't think it matters. But just make sure you're cutting it vertically off with the paper facing you. If there's a pattern that makes sense, facing you. Because so you want it 12 inches tall, you just want it 11 inches wide. Okay, so I've already scored this, but you're basically going to score 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, which gives you 4 2.5 inch panels and one inch flap for taping or for gluing or for whatever. I gotta move it. Okay, so this is what you end up with. Then you're going to turn it and you're going to give one more 2.5 inch score, which gives us our bottom pieces. Okay, now we're gonna do the normal thing we would do. I was actually making this go this way, so I just folded all those pieces wrong. Not that it really matters because we'll just fold them the right way. So I'm drawing on the side that I want the inside of my bag to be. Okay, I'm gonna try to make a styling white and gold bunny. Okay, there we go. So this is my pieces. And like I said, I can't make my camera go enough. I got my 1 inch flap, and then I basically have 4. That's an easier way to show you what it looks like, right? And then there's these bottom pieces here I'm going to cut in a minute, and we're going to fold and do stuff with. Now, I freehanded. When I made this bunny, I just started cutting, and then I fixed it up a little bit, and then I did it, and I said, absolutely love it. So in this case, I measured, and it is not actually as hard as you think. And right now, this is the instructions. I told you I do lots of things on sticky notes. I did. So it just is. So this is what you need to know, that this is the back piece. So this like little flap is going to be is going to glue on the back. So this is one of the sides. This is one of the sides. This is the front, and this is the back. Now you know that these two pieces go together, right? Because that's what's going to glue. So back, right? So opposite of the flap is the back. So this is the front. Okay, and I don't know if it matters as far as like really anything other than when you're assembling it. So you know that the ears are on the side. That's what I got going there. That's where I was going with that. So I'm going to find out if putting this on the right when you score matters, because this is the side I want out. So you notice this is on the left now. When I did it for my other piece that I'm going to bring in a minute, I did it on the left. So I'm going to find out if it matters. We're going to find that out very shortly. I don't actually think it does. I think you just want to make sure that you have your bottom piece, right? This is where it's going to go. And then we're going to start drawing. Now I'm going to make pencil marks, and I could not figure out an easier way to, there's no like dies or anything. But like I said, this is very easy. And you're going to see in a minute, because I'm going to make little marks with my pencil, and then I'm going to freehand the whole thing. So you're going to see that it really doesn't matter. Now, if you don't want to freehand, you could, yes, draw straight lines, like draw the whole thing out, follow the lines if you want. That's fine too. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting my ruler, about halfway between the two score lines. I'm on the wrong one. I'm on the one panel over, sorry. I am putting my ruler in between. And I'm going to go down. Once again, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to go up, actually. I got my ruler upside down. Sorry, I'm looking at my sheet. I'm totally distracted by the curling. I'm going to turn the I'm going to have to turn the curling off in a second, because I'm just trying to catch the score, because they always make it look so dramatic. Okay, so I'm about halfway in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to go up 4 1/4, which conveniently enough is the width of a card, like a regular card base. And that's just by fluke. Sorry, I distracted that time it wasn't even curling. I distracted myself. I'm doing this so that I end up with a bag that looks like this, right? If you wanted to, you could make these flaps smaller, and just, it wouldn't be as clean on the bottom, but you could also just like put a piece to cover them. If you needed this piece to be longer, you could shorten up your ears and just make this longer, right? Like it's not really gonna matter one way or the other. But I'm gonna go at 4 1/4, about halfway, right? Like I said, I'm just making little marks, and I'm making marks on the inside so that you'll never see them. And then I'm gonna go over here. Oops, I'm gonna skip one. I'm gonna go over here. So the front and the back are the lowest, right? That's down here. This is what I'm doing, is I'm just marking where this point is. So I'm going 4 1/4. And so I've got 2 4 1/4 marks. Now I'm going to go on the line in between them, and I am going to mark 5 3/4. And I'm going to go 5 3/4. Quarters. So this is just, I'm just following the line. Do I have to mark on every one of them? Maybe not. But I am, because it's just easier. Okay. That's my marks. Now, it's pencil, so I can erase it. Okay. So this is basically what I'm going to end up with, is from about the halfway point here to the 5 3/4 mark. I'll draw on here, because then you'll see what I'm doing. I'm going to, I didn't draw one on this side, but that's okay, because I'll just eyeball it, because it really doesn't matter. So then between these 2 points, we've got our little, oh, I did it. See, I did it again. That's why I didn't mark on that side. And this is why we use a ruler, because I did my bunny ear on the wrong one. Yep. I do want to go between the 2 points, but I want to go this way. So about halfway up here, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go like this. And then about from between these 2 points where my little half mark is, I'm going to go down. And I'm curving these lines as I draw them, because that's ideally when you cut, you will curve them. And this is about here. And then we're going to go back up again. That's about halfway. Halfway. And then wherever you come down on here, we're basically just going to miter this off. And when you come up here, we're going to miter this off. Now this we're going to trim later. This is going to end up getting trimmed out more, but it's easier to do it after the fact. So don't worry about, like, all of this is going. You're going to keep some of this. So just for now, start there. So that's what we want to do. Okay. And the ears, if you draw straight lines, which, like I said, it is totally fine to draw straight lines. I drew straight lines on the other one, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. But, oops, I'm off the screen. If you draw straight lines, you're going to go just like this, right? I would suggest rounding the corners, even on the straight line one, just a little tiny round, because it looks really funny if your bunny ears are super pointed. I don't know, because I mean, bunnies are soft and fluffy, right? So that's not how they go. And I'm just trying to round as I go. I cannot cut that way, so I gotta go down this way. And the first time I did it, when I made the other dude, I didn't even draw lines. I just like estimated. So draw lines, estimate, draw straight lines. It's all, your bunny's gonna work out cute no matter what. Okay. So we're doing that. I'm trying to stay on screen with this big piece while pulling it over, while still actually being able to see what I'm doing. Okay. So then that's, oops. I guess I never actually finished this side. Now there's big chunks of DSP left here that you can very easily use on other things, because we've just basically cut out around the bunny ears. All these big pieces you can use for something else. Now, see, this piece here is what's going to line up with this, and they don't really line up the same. Because we're going to actually, I'm going to put this together. I'm just going to take off where I went wildly crazy. I was trying to draw in such a way that if you do it, the easy way to do this is to draw your pencil lines a little bit inside of where you want to cut. So then when you cut your pencil lines off. Then you don't have to erase anything. But it's not like erasing it is that hard. There we go. All my pencil lines are gone, except for where I wrote in the random middle part. So this is what I did. Now, to make this into a box, we're going to do the same thing on the bottom that you would normally do. The piece that is joined here, you start your miters at. Right, so we're mitering these corners just so everything fits better and there's no pieces sticking out. So the one adjacent to here, we're going to miter. Then the one beside it, we're going to straight edge. Straight edge. And this is just this. So this is the front panel. This one right here. And so we want this to be nice and finished and full and give us the best looking front piece we can. So we're going to keep that one straight. Then we're going to miter. And then we're going to keep the back one straight. And I'm basically just cutting off the score lines on the parts that I say keep straight. There we go. We're done. Now, in the interest of time, I have made this piece. So you can see where the adhesive goes, because then I'm going to use this because it's going to be way faster. So adhesive goes on the 3 tabs, not the front tab. So I told you there was a front tab, right? Don't put it on that one, but on all 3 of the other ones and along this piece. My head apparently is in the way. There we go. And along this piece. Now, if you want to trim this up before you put glue on it, here's what we're going to do. These pieces are all going to go together like this, right? And so for now, just fold the bottom pieces in just because it gives you an idea of what we're doing. We're going to fold them in the right order, right? So this is how this box is going to go together. So this is the part I said you're going to have to trim. This one little piece is going to need to be trimmed from here to here, just because it's. I got too many patterns on the go here. When I quickly glance at my screen, all I see is patterns. So this was the part that we were going to. I told you you could cut at least a little bit more, but you're going to want to match whatever's going on here. So in this case, It's right there, right? So I'm just going to, again, this is so much easier when you're not trying to make sure you're on screen. There we go. So I'm just going to cut there. And actually, once you make a mark, just make sure you cut down enough that you don't see it on there. So I'm just going to cut there. I'm going to trim that off because that is much easier to show you this way than it is the other way. Okay, this is basically what we're going to do. We're going to glue all these, like where all the flaps are. We're going to have our front and our back, and then we're just going to squish our box in and fold over our ears, right? That's how easy this is. Now I realize now that this was not actually a very good choice because these ears are, they're bright. But what I have figured out from my earlier question is it does not matter which side this flap here that you're going to connect with. It doesn't matter when you cut your paper. If you're looking at the good side of your paper, it does not matter if it's on the right or in this case on the left. Just know that when you're drawing your pictures, the part with the adhesive is the back, right? And so all the drawing and stuff like that you're going to do on the back side. So, or sorry, the adhesive goes on the front side, all the drawing goes on the back side. So just make sure when you're doing it, you know what, like the side you're writing with your pencil marks on is up, and then that'll be the inside of the bunny. Okay, so here we go. You can use the liquid glue. It works just great. That's actually what I used on here because I was testing to see how long I would have to wait, and you didn't actually have to wait that long. Now, when you are gluing, whichever way you do it, and yes, all of these are going to be hidden, which is why I can write adhesive with a Sharpie marker on it because it doesn't matter. Always make sure, especially this flap is wider, but I want this box to be like it's going to have something bigger in it. So I want it to be a little more secure. So if your flap is this big, put adhesive along both edges, because otherwise, if you just have it here, then this piece is going to be in the box and it's going to be flapping like flaps do. So, but you also want to make sure that you have adhesive right up as close as you can to this line, right? So if you're using liquid, you're going to go back a little bit, but you want to make sure you got adhesive on both edges. Then, if you fold your flap over and you fold your pattern in half, they line up just beautifully. So you can line up your corner, and in this case, it's almost the pattern that's lining up, and push down. The beauty of it, that's where that lines up. Now, I seam to be in the back, which makes this my front. I like my front piece to have a nice clean fold, right? I like it to be folded down so I don't see any edges. So I'm going to put in the back piece first because I'm keeping my front piece over here, okay? So I'm going to put the back piece first, sorry, and then one of the sides, then the other side, then the front, so that when I look at it this way, I have this nice fold here and I have less edges here, okay? I'm going to pull all these adhesive pieces off at once because I'm a rebel. If you're doing it with liquid glue, it might be easier to do like one flap at a time, although I will be honest, when I did my other one, because I put it down here to pull the pieces off because that's easier. But when it's liquid glue, I can just hold it in my hand, right? So with the liquid glue, I put adhesive on all the flaps all at once. Live on the edge. There we go. So again, now I know as well. Well, in this case, I know because the sides that say adhesive on them, but make sure I got my front again. So I'm going to make sure I don't accidentally glue it in where I don't want to. So back goes down, side goes down, front goes. Now, when you're doing this with adhesive, liquid adhesive, you have a little more play because you want to make sure as you're doing it, I pre-folded mine, that's how I know, that you can do that like loosely, put your box like this, and then set it in front of you and make sure it's all square, make sure no edges are done, and then push everything together. So I'm just using my phone folder because my hands aren't. Okay, get my meat hooks in there, and I'm just rubbing back and forth to get it down. So with liquid glue, you've got a little bit of play, right? Like you can kind of squish it around to make sure that your bunny is square. Now you'll notice this is where we cut the pieces off, right? And I did just round my little corners. So I've got my front of my bunny box. I'm putting my finger like this, and all I'm doing is squeezing. I'm not pre-scoring anything. I'm not folding anything. I'm just squeezing. Now, if it makes it easier and you have a paper clip. That's not a paper clip. Clothespin or bulldog clip. Actually, a bulldog clip's not going to work because it's going to be too big. What else have I got stuck in here? I don't have anything else. I was going to say paper clip, but I don't know that I have a paper clip. If you want to, for now, if I can find one. I thought I'd also paper clip in there. Nope. Little clips, whatever clips you have. If you want to, you can clip this, right, to hold it. But I found that it's easier just to kind of keep your hand in the middle, like where you first push it. Once you get the ears curling, you'll notice it stays almost closed on its own. But just kind of keep it kind of pressure in the middle. Now all we want to do is curl our bunny ears. So I'm using my bone folder, and I'm holding in the middle, but I'm kind of flattening out the ear anyways, because I want to curl it as far down as I can. And I'm just going to curl my ear. And I'm going to do it a couple times, and then it's going to get easier each time that I do it. And then I'm going to turn my little bunny around, and I am going to curl the other ear. And I mean, I don't want to rip my paper, but I am putting some extra weight or behind the bone folder, especially when you're doing the part at the very bottom where it's folded over and there's double. So I'm going to do this a couple times because I found that, sorry, I keep going off screen to try to do it. Just doing it once, my ears were rather alert. And then once I get it going, I was just kind of manhandling it, like holding it still and just kind of bending it over and manhandling it with my hands until the bunny ears went the way they were supposed to. You could roll them up. The part where it is more, there we go, like where there's more paper, it wants to keep staying straight. It does not want to roll. The part where there's just one layer of paper, it's quite happy to roll. So I'm just trying to roll them all together. I didn't want to cut these off too much though, because if I do, oh, there we go. If I do, then I have to try to figure out how to make this fancy and where do the edges go? And so this was meant to be like partially abstract. And so it goes like this. So now I have my bunny ears. Ta-da! And I'm just tying something around here. So on this one, I used the thick twine that we had. Trim. It was very nautical. I don't remember what it was called, but it was for sale at the same time that paper was for sale. For this one, I just used the thicker bunny trim. I don't know. I mean, you could use, and I'm using this one to check it out. You probably could use the twine, but twine is so thin that I think twine's going to get lost in the pattern. I think the bigger, the better. But we have this gold. I needed gold, and the only gold I have is this gold 1/8 inch trim. So I'm going to see how that works. It's not like to a certain point, the bunny's going to hold itself together. I'm just going to keep curling these ears until they do what I want. I kind of like it when like one ear goes forward, one ear goes back. So like do what you want with it. See, look at that. Isn't that cute? The one thing I did notice, so I copied this the same as how I did the first one. And I don't know if I just played with this paper more or what. Or maybe it's the gold foil paper sticker. But I found with this one, I kept having to fold it a bit more. One of the things I did to try to see if it made a difference was I actually trimmed out more of the ear. So instead of it being a V, I trimmed down and took some out. It helped a little bit, but it's just a matter of manipulating enough. The other thing that I found though that did help, and it's just a matter of like playing with it to figure out how you wanted. By the way, I grabbed this piece of twine, which is very thin. It doesn't contrast enough against this paper, but it will hold it shut. And in this case, the ears, like they do look really full in here. So I mean, you could trim some of this out after the fact, but I found out if you fold the ears, like so when you go right where the joint is, if you take them and just kind of fold your ears forward, it gives you a little bit more, I don't know, they look a little bit more like ears, like they're a little bit more they're not just so straight up and down, like, whoa, like leaning back almost. They look a little cuter leaning forward. But once you do that, you're gonna have to do like your little rolling thing again. And just, I haven't ripped one yet, so don't be afraid to rip it. And then just kind of manipulate it a little bit. This guy's ears are like, what now? But anyways, that's all they were. But these are simple boxes. Fill them up, and then this one's so funny. I don't know if it's because it's been sitting so long, but when you take the string off, this one does not open on its own. I noticed that when I was doing the measurements. I'm like, huh. And then, yeah, you can just pop them open and fit as much stuff as you want to in this nice, nice big treat holder, and then tie it back up again. And the best part is it's reusable because you don't have to rip anything to get into it. I will tell you, oh, I went over my time. I will tell you that I thought, hey, if we're going to reuse this anyways, maybe instead of tying around here, I'll just put like a cute little bow on here, or you could put like a little bow tie down here if you wanted to make it look like a boy. So I thought I will just put like magnets or Velcro or something to close this. Yeah, it doesn't work. There's too many things joining all at one place, and you'd have to go way farther down on the bag, and then you have like it wouldn't close. Like you need the pinch to be up here, not the pinch to be down here. But up here, you've got like the corners of the ears. You got too many things going on. So I found that it did not work with the magnets or the Velcro, but it doesn't need to, right? It closes a lot, kind of on its own, and then you just manipulate the ears. But look at this guy now with his like one ear's up and one ear's over. I love that. This one's a little more curly, and one's a little more straight. But those are my bunny bags, and they're my favorite, and I love them. So there we go. I will send out instructions with those. I'm working my way through the instructions, getting all the other ones done. I will send them out. I am putting in a group order on Sunday if you want to get any of the new kits or anything. Enjoy the curling this weekend because it finishes up. We're actually going tomorrow to the chiropractor. Then we are going to Sound of Music, which was my son's Christmas present. And then we're going out to my son's birthday dinner, and then a haircut, and then a road trip on Monday. So I'm going to be busy. I'm not going to be making a bunch of new stuff necessarily until Tuesday because I'll be out and about doing my things. But I will have all my things. I will be finishing them. I've got just about all the tutorials done and ready to post. I'm just kind of spacing them out so I can make sure that they're right, and so you don't see them all at once and lose them all in your feed. So I will add these to the list because I love my bunny bags. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. Happy crafting. Bye now.